Hi, Josh from Shimano Australia here to introduce to you the 2025 Stella SW D. Coming to Australia first up is going to be two 10,000 sizes and a 14,000 size. So there will be the 10,000 PG that I have in my hands right here, a 10,000 HG model and the 14,000 XG. For the 10,000 PG model, it's going to be a 4.8 to 1 gear ratio. The 10,000 HG, however, is going to have a 5.6 to 1 gear ratio, and the 14,000 XG being a 6.2 to 1 gear ratio. Each of these reels has 12 plus 1 bearings, so that's 12 ball bearings plus that anti-reverse bearing. So of course there are those returning technologies from the previous Stella series of reels, that being Hagane Concept, Hagane Gear, Hagane Body, X-Ship, technologies like that that are basically standard on the high-end reels that Shimano Australia offers. But the really big news are the new technologies inside the Stella SWD. First of which being XX tough drag. Now why is XX tough drag so important? What they've done is they've greatly increased the surface area and size of the drag washer that sits on top. Previously, the drag washers that underneath had that large surface area, but now we're getting that surface area and pressure from both sides. So spreading that pressure out evenly, what does that mean? It's going to be a smoother drag, more drag. All three models are going to have 25 kilos of drag. But what's also important with XX tough drag is it's working in sync with the heat sink drag that was on the previous model of Stella. So what you'll find as we go through these technologies is that each one is not only new on its own, but it's also additive and works in conjunction with the other technologies featured on the Stella SWD. So to go along with that XX tough drag, they've also enlarged the drag knob. So right here in front of me, I have the previous drag knob and then I have the new size drag knob. That's just going to mean that during those extended fights with really large fish, just going to be better operability when you do need to change that drag. The next really important technology that's in the new Stella SWD is going to be the Infinity Cross gears. So again in front of me I have the previous drive gear from the Stella series and then I have the new. You're going to see those teeth are 50% larger than on the previous model. What they've done, they've taken that Hagane concept and that Hagane gearing, greatly enlarged those teeth, but they've made the meshing area spread the load between the pinion and drive gear. And for all anglers, that's going to mean even more length of life to that gear set. So moving down from that drag knob, next we have AntiTwist Fin, which is now featured on the new Stella SWD. We've seen it on many of the other smaller reels. This is the first time that the AntiTwist Fin has been offered on one of the large saltwater reels. And what Shimano has found is that this is one of those technologies that anglers will see the benefit of every single time they're on the water. Other technologies are great over time, over 10-year life of a reel. But when you've got something like an AntiTwist Fin, where the line is caught and placed exactly where it's meant to be, it's going to lead to better casting, cast after cast. It's just going to be wound onto that spool exactly how it should every time. And they do that by just putting this little fin, it just sits in under the line roller there. It's going to catch that line when you close that bail arm every time, and it's going to place it exactly where it needs to be. So any loose loops while making large sweeping motions just means that there's not going to be that loose loop that's placed on the bottom, and that's going to lead to the better casting. And last but not least is Infinity Loop. So Infinity Loop has actually appeared on other high-end Shimano spinning reels, but they've been of the smaller variety. This is the first time it's appeared on one of the saltwater reels. And what have they done? They haven't just put regular Infinity Loop on it, they've actually made Shimano's SWD series of reels have an asymmetric worm drive. So what does an asymmetric worm drive actually do? Well, it means that the spool is actually going to oscillate at two different speeds And this leads to two functions of the reel actually being improved. The first of which is general casting. So the fact that the line is laid very slowly on the reel, instead of having that fast motion up and down, means when you're going to cast, that cast is going to feel much slipperier as that line comes off easier and shoots through that first stripper guide. The second benefit of having infinity loop is going to be for those extended fights with really big fish. So the same way that that line has been laid for better casting, what that means is that during those big extended fights with really large fish, the line doesn't have to change directions as quick, and because it's only making that directional change, the small peaks of more drag during an extended fight are less. So what that means is the same way that that line was laid in a way that's going to make casting easier, it also works with the drag. So being laid in a slower fashion means it doesn't need to oscillate itself. The spool is staying at the same level, the line doesn't need to make as many shifts. So the peaks between those changes are lengthened, leading to an overall smoother drag. So again, the Stella SWD really is designed for extended fights with big fish. Every bit of technology that has gone into this has been designed for that. The double X tough drag, infinity loop, the heatsink drag, they're all working in conjunction with each other, and they're really made for big fish, big fights. So pairings for the new Stella is obviously going to be your grappler rods, your game type J's. Then you've also got your Oshia plugger full throttles. And if you're really in it for the super combo, there is an Oshia plugger full throttle limited coming in small numbers to Australia, matched with the Oshia 17 Plus line, the absolute ultimate in big fish combos. The new Stella SWD series truly is the absolute flagship reel for both Shimano worldwide and of course in Shimano Australia. For weight, there's one thing I haven't mentioned. The new Stella SWD is actually going to come with 3 years free servicing. That's right, every single Stella SWD sold in Australia. I don't think there's a better reel out there, and with an added value of about $500 on that 3-year free servicing, the Stella SWD is absolutely poised to take Australia by storm.